Hey guys, this is Keepo777, and here is a post-commentary garden update, and along with Goji berry plant update. So as you can see, these, at least from this plant, you can see that the growth has exponentially taken off. And let's see if I can remember what I'm going to show you guys the flower buds right now. You can see right there in this video they're starting to form on the sides of the branches, and the majority of the fruit that will be produced will be from new growth. I did see on old growth woody stems there were some flowers, but for the most part the majority of the berries will come from new growth. See if I can get it to focus. Sometimes my camera doesn't cooperate for some reason. Let's see. Oh, and that one, I guess you would call it a runner. It's starting to put out new branches on the sides, and the main branches along with the main plant now. It's like going through it. There's really no way to differentiate from the main branch of that plant and the main plant itself. It's just like decided to grow along it. And as you can see, there's more buds, more fruit gonna be coming out. But so far so good. And we're gonna take a look at these other plants. Oh, and we'll get into it right now. I think, yeah. We're gonna be seeing the bunch of runners at the bottom. I thought that was a fruit right there, but it seems like those are just leaves. I mean, not fruit, but flowers. Alright, so here are the... Oh, wait, I guess not yet. Just showing you this plant, the second plant. And now, here we go. Here are the ones in the last video. If you remember before, you were able to see the rock, and now it's basically covered the rock. And this is just me showing you like how much it's basically grown in terms of height. You can see like just even right there down at the bottom there's a branch coming out that wasn't there before. But yeah, you can see the rock is, oh, and then it's a weird cut because it accidentally paused. But yeah, you can see the rock right here. It's basically covered. And even now, like, this is back on, I believe, the 29th of April. Post commentary is the 5th of May, no, the 3rd of May. And then, oh, and then that one in the back, there was only one branch, and now there's more branches coming from the dirt or the ground. And you can see right here, this is what I'm talking about. I believe that these flowers are on an old growth or woody stem. It's kind of hard to tell, but there are flowers that do grow on the woody stems, but majority of the fruit, like I said before, will come from the new growth of that year. And that's why it's important to always prune your goji berry plants, you know, cut the ends off so that way it branches more and more and more. And for some reason, even though I pruned this one, it doesn't seem to be growing as fast as the others, but like the lower parts are actually growing faster than the top part. This one's doing fine. This one is a different plant, but the one that you just saw, the top parts. Oh, and then this is the next plant. Again, these ones aren't as bushy as like maybe the first one or the let's see, fourth one. But with time, I think they'll all get to that point. And then this is the plant that has always had trouble, whether it was the bunnies eating it or the wind breaking the branches, but as you can see, it was doing pretty well. Here's the blackberry, doing pretty well as well. Mint, I think it's spearmint or just mint. Mysore berry, this is a Mysore berry, it's like a raspberry. Yeah, Mysore berry. I always tend to forget. I always want to call it an elderberry, but it's not an elderberry. It's a Mysore berry, which is, again, like a mix, I guess, between a blackberry and a raspberry. The only reason I got it because it didn't have thorns. And again, here are blueberries. Could have sworn I saw flowers previously, but apparently not yet. And then here's the other one. And then this is either a snapdragon or something. I don't know. I know that's probably not the actual name, but I think it's similar to a snapdragon because a lot of hummingbirds like to come to this plant and drink the nectar. And actually, I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous video, but recently a hummingbird moth decided to take a drink. And I wasn't able to get any pictures because I was watering at the time. And by the time I put the hose down, it flew away. Then here's the Bloomsdale spinach. They're not really doing too much right now. Barely putting out their true leaves. So I'm not really going to spend too much time on them because there's really not much to see. And then here is the Swiss chard doing, I would say, probably somewhat better than Bloomsdale spinach at this particular time. And again, really not much to see at this point, barely putting out their true leaves. And I might change the soil in my raised bed next year. I tried this one and I don't think I really like the way it's performing as compared to previous soil that I've used that I think did pretty well. However, it's sugar pea pod 2. It's a weird name for these peas. And then this is also the day of mushrooms are sprouting. And then that's a lettuce mix. Let's see. Kind of show you guys a little bit more. Yeah, all lettuce mix. But I think the purple leaves are going to do better than green leaves for whatever reason. They probably got more protection to the sun. And then actually behind the pea pot are the sugar pea. I actually planted the green beans, Blue Lake bush bean, green bean. Here is the flame grape, something like that. I don't remember the name. I know it's like a flame grape. It's seedless. I would have liked to have a seeded grape because I know they're kind of sweeter, but wasn't available at the time. But I'm happy with just any grapes because I like go through them pretty fast. I like to eat an entire vine within 2 to 3 days if it's really good. And what I didn't know is that grapes actually put out flowers because we thought that they would just turn into grapes right away, but I had a feeling that they would have to flower first, which I confirmed by looking it up. Straight neck squash. I was surprised it didn't really spread out or crawl anywhere. It seems to be just staying in one spot, similar to zucchini. And those are the Marvel garden pea, and then the little plants you see like in between them is marigolds. And then here, finally, it seems like it took forever, is you can kind of see them. Yeah, there we go. Those are basil, Genovese. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think it's Genovese basil. I could be wrong. Most likely I'm wrong. And yeah, so I'm excited for those. I'm thinking about maybe doing cuttings. Hopefully pot them up and make multiple plants and sell them. Maybe for $1 or $2, maybe $3, depending on how big the plant is. But this year seems a little bit weird in terms of weather. It's very fluctuating. Like some days it's hot, some days it's cold. But now that we're starting to get into April, it seems to stabilize. And then here are the Roma tomatoes. These aren't the ones that I'm really excited for. The ones that I'm really excited for are the Cherokee Purple, the heirloom varieties. Oh, and then these are the Cherokee Trail of Tears bean. And then that's the trellis that they're hopefully going to be growing on. Seems like they might be growing on the cilantro, but hopefully they turn the right way and go on the trellis. And here goes some chili. I think it's serrano, and the other one was a jalapeno. And again, here are the cuttings for the goji berry plants. These ones I might have to sell locally, but if I'm going to sell goji berry cuttings, I'm going to have to do just a bare stick cutting and probably put them in Ziplocs with a moist paper towel when they go dormant. That's the only way, as of right now, I think it's feasible for me to sell them to people across the United States, because I'm on Open Bazaar, Goji and More store. That's the name of my store on Open Bazaar if you guys want to check it out. Or Open Bazaar 2 to be more specific, because that's the second iteration of it. And as you can see, they're doing pretty well. I've started to water more on the soil than the actual branches themselves, because as you can see, it's caused a little bit of burning, but I don't think it's going to kill the plant. Hopefully not. Goji seem to be like a very strong plant, very hardy. I wasn't expecting them to all even put out leaves, but they have. And here it is, finally, the Cherokee Purple tomato. And then there's also, I think you'll see, this is like probably the best one so far in terms of growth. And then there's two more over here, which I'll get to. Let's see, they might be very hard to see. Because, oh, and also, if you've noticed, I have a bunch of grass clippings. I'm trying a new strategy in terms of, or new technique to hold in moisture, because I live in an arid climate, desert-like climate. And I've noticed that I was watering, like, not that it was out of the ordinary, but it seemed like the soil was drying out a little bit faster this year. And again, watering every day, which is fine and all, but I want to see if I can limit that, because I came across this new technique, and it's called like grass-fed garden. And I'll be applying about another layer, because I didn't have enough to fill in everything, but I'm going to do about maybe once a week on Fridays, let it dry out a little, maybe on the weekends put the grass down. And yeah, here's another angle of the beans. And then, oh, there was a person who commented on my video that their goji berry plant had yellow leaves. I don't know if it sounded like the majority of the leaves were yellow. So I gave him some advice on not to overwater and do not fertilize. Put them in a soil that doesn't have peat moss, because peat moss apparently burns the roots. But I wanted to point this out. I do have yellow leaves, but it's not all over the plant. It's only in like a shady part of the plant. So my theory is that if it's not getting enough nutrient or not enough light, it will drop the leaf. But I think in the place of that leaf where it will put out a branch where the leaf was. And then also what's important is, even if it's dropping leaves, it's kind of a good thing, because it provides nutrients for the plant. It'll break down slowly. And again, you see that, dropping leaves, litter, and all that. It's doing it at a rate that's not too drastic. And I think it provides nutrients to the plant, and, retaining moisture. And what I'm about to show you is that that's all weeds. Most of it's mustard plant, like this one right here. And what I do is I take the plant and I just pull it out and just lay it down where it was. Show you the root system, show you the plant itself, put it down, and chop and drop. That's a method. But I'm doing that now just to retain moisture, and it seems to be helping, because now I'm watering these like every other day in the evening. I know when it gets to the summer months, it's going to be mostly every day. But again, it just depends on the plant and how they look. Let's see, what am I going to show you guys? I think I'm just going to show you guys an overview or an overlook of the garden. Oh no, I'm going to show you more of the Trail of Tears beans, Cherokee Trail of Tears. Yeah, I'm really excited for this bean as well, but I really want the Bush Lake, Blue Lake bush bean to come up, because I want to try the green beans, and I hear they're pretty good, and I hear they're very prolific in terms of production. As you can see, the new growth in the middle starting to come up. And the hope is that, again, they climb on the trellis. In previous years, I managed to grow them, but the trellis wasn't as great. But it worked, but hopefully this time it's a lot better in terms of production. And then maybe I'll add on to the trellis, because I know these can get to... oh, you can even see the tag right there. It's kind of hidden with the cilantro. And yeah, here goes just, you know, a look at the garden. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else really to talk about. Let me see. Oh, this is where I put the grass clippings that I spread out in the garden. It's my watering can. I don't use the water can with the clippings. That I use that watering can mainly for the warm bin, and sometimes if I just water by hand certain plants. But for the most part, I use the wand. So that's pretty much it. Oh, and that's an owl, fake owl to scare, you know, whatever way. I don't think it really works, but it's there. And that's pretty much it.